They have the 2019 league MVP. They went 11-5 last season and won a playoff game. And yet when it comes to conversations around the contenders for the 2021 NFL season, somehow the Baltimore Ravens name does not come up. Joining me now from Locked On Ravens is Kevin Oestreicher. And Kevin, this is a team under John Harbaugh that has had pretty consistent success. Lamar Jackson is a dynamic player, and this defense is incredibly stout. So what am I missing here? Why aren't the Ravens in these conversations?
You know, Peter, they should be. And to an extent, they have been. But you're right, it hasn't been what I think a lot of people have been expecting. This team has that great 2019 year, 14-2. Take a bit of a step back. They have the COVID situation and some injuries as well. Ronnie Stanley, Nick Boyle, some big ones. But the Ravens, I think, attacked this offseason like they should have. They revamped their offensive line. They did lose Orlando Brown Jr., but, you know, that was something that he wanted, not necessarily the team. And also, I think that the Ravens added some talent on defense. They did lose Matthew Judon, Yannick Ngakoue, Jihad Ward as pass rushers, but a couple of weeks ago, add Justin Houston. That's a huge move, in my opinion. I think that will take them over the top there. So, in terms of contenders, I think the Ravens are certainly one of them. I have a big four, and that big four is Baltimore, Cleveland, Kansas City, Buffalo. No particular order, but those are my big four. So I think that Baltimore is going to be right in the thick of things in the AFC. Definitely, I think a playoff berth is no doubt, but they have the potential to go really far this postseason, potentially even making it and winning a Super Bowl.
That is also the big four of betonline.ag in the AFC. The Ravens currently have the same Super Bowl future odds as the LA Rams, who are getting a lot more buzz. So clearly the odds makers see the value in the Baltimore Ravens. It's just in conversations like this, they don't tend to come up as much. You mentioned the offseason moves that Baltimore made. One of the big questions from last season and moving forward has been the play of the wide receivers. They make the move in the first round to bring in Rashad Bateman. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. So have they done enough? What do they need to get out of this skill group for them to be not just in the conversation, but legitimate AFC and Super Bowl contenders?
Yeah, I think, Peter, they don't have to be the top passing offense in the NFL. I don't expect that whatsoever. They have one of the best rushing offenses, the best, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. And I think that's the way it will stay. They have a bunch of receivers now, though. They can play all over the field. Baltimore was dealing with a lot of slot options in 2020. Guys were kind of playing on the outside, but that's not necessarily where they're best. Marquise Brown, one of those, Devin Duvernay. Some of those guys were playing on the outside when really their best play comes in the slot. Not that they can't do it. So what they do is they add Bateman, they add Sammy Watkins in free agency, two moves that I really like. Now, Bateman, yes, will probably be out for the first couple of weeks, maybe even the first month of the regular season, but they have the depth now to weather that. James Prochet II has had a phenomenal training camp. He's been the star of training camp and really done a lot to earn a roster spot. I think he's a virtual lock at this point. Tylan Wallace could get some snaps early in the season. He fell to Baltimore in the fourth round, a steal in many people's estimation. So they just need players they needed players who could go out there and give them really good snap speed targets for Lamar Jackson. Sammy Watkins gives them a veteran presence because their wide receiver group outside of him is pretty young. And with him now balancing out that age, I think that the Ravens have the potential, and Greg Roman opening up that playbook as well is big. I think that the Ravens can definitely be a top 15 at least passing offense this year.